RFA development in Saxavord, SpaceX completed static fire test for IFT-5, SpaceX Falcon 9 is back, rocket launch cadence is back this week. I'm Christophe Paget and this is your weekly space news. A few weeks ago, I described in detail the level of tests Rocket Factory Augsburg, or RFA, have gone through to get his RFA-1 rocket ready for maiden flight out of Saxavord in the Shetland. Click on the pop-up link on the top right corner of your screen to see that episode. Jordan Wright from the Angry Astronaut is currently residing near the launch site in Saxavord, reporting on the RFA progress. Now, RFA has previously carried out a static fire of its first stage with just 4 Helix engines. Since then, they have added 5 more engines, and this week, RFA has carried out a cryogenic test of its first stage with its 9 engines. It seems that the test has gone well, and that validates the next phase of testing, which is the static fire of its 9 engines. RFA is being cautious after ABL has damaged its first stage in similar tests in Kodiak in Alaska. So one must be careful. Thank you, Jordan Wright, for this insight from Saxavord. RFA is aiming at a maiden flight with his Rocket 1 and his 3 stages by year-end. At Starbase, we start with Massiside, where Starship number 30 has finally conducted its static fire tests of its 6 Raptor engines and was moved back to the production site. Now, SpaceX treated us with a close-up footage of these tests, even in slow motion, with an amazing view of the 6 Raptor engines running. What a spectacle to see so up close. Now, that test is the last test before the full wet dress rehearsal with Booster 12 at the launch site, and then all is ready for the integrated flight test number 5. At the production site, Starship number 33 is getting assembled and covered with tiles 2. This Starship seems to be a version 2 prototype, with the forward flap slightly forward and smaller. It is not just Starship number 33 being worked on, but also Starship number 31, which is getting a series of scaffoldings inside the high bay to get his old thermal protection tiles replaced by the new ones, those currently on Starship number 30. At the launch site now, the 4th section of Mekazila Tower was added to it, and later on that week, the 5th section was added too. That makes 4 sections to go. SpaceX's Falcon 9 is now back for business. You may remember about 2 weeks ago during a Starlink mission, the second stage engine did not start due to a liquid oxygen leak, which resulted in the 20 Starlink satellites burnt re-entering the Earth's atmosphere. As for the second stage, I mentioned in my previous episode that it has exploded, and it was not the case. Indeed, the second stage engine, called Merlin Vacuum Engine, suffered a hard start, which is a passivation feature in such an event to avoid, in fact, explosions, so that no debris are being generated. So the second stage will soon burn in the atmosphere during re-entry, and SpaceX mentioned that the issue was caused by a crack in the sense line for a pressure sensor attached to the vehicle's oxygen system. The line cracked due to fatigue caused by high loading from the engine vibration and looseness in the clamp that normally constrains the line. Now, the fix was simply to remove the sense line and sensor from the second stage, and even tested the fix at his McGregor site. SpaceX issues a mishap report to the FAA, and after review, the FAA has given the green light for SpaceX to resume flights, which took place from Florida on July 27th with another Starlink mission without any issues. Now, why is it so important for SpaceX to resume flight as soon as possible? Why should we care? Because coming up in short successions are many important missions such as Polaris Dawn within a month to test cheap and mass-producible EVA suits from SpaceX, Crew Dragon with the crew number 9 set of astronauts within 3 weeks to rotate the crew in the ISS who stayed 6 months already, to replace by a new crew of 4. Incidentally, the crew of 2 from Boeing Starliner is still stuck in the ISS for 9 weeks. So more supplies are required to ensure that they are catered for, and therefore a commercial resupply mission, CRS-21, is due to be launched within a week. Although this CRS-21 mission is happening with a Northrop Grumman spacecraft called Cygnus, the spacecraft will be carried by a SpaceX Falcon 9, since Northrop Grumman's previous rocket had Ukrainian and Russian engine parts which they cannot procure anymore. Additionally, Falcon 9 will launch its cargo resupply Dragon to the ISS to provide necessary food and hardware in the next 2 months. Falcon 9 will also launch in the next 2 months 2 more European global positioning satellites, which Soyuz or Ariane 6 cannot launch at the moment. I will stop here, but the list is long, so this restart of Falcon 9 flights is very much beneficial for the ISS and Europe too. A long-awaited restart of SpaceX Falcon 9 took place on July 27th with Starlink mission Group 10-9 from Florida. It was the 17th flight of the first stage, which landed on the drone ship. Oh, and yes, the second stage functioned correctly and the payload was released at the right orbit. SpaceX now has a backlog of flights, which we will see reduced in the coming weeks. July 28th, how bizarre, 2 more Falcon 9 Starlink missions. The first one was from Florida for his mission Group 10-4. The first stage has flown for a 14th time and landed on the drone ship, whilst the second flight was from Florida for his mission Group 9-4, where the first stage landed on a drone ship for the 17th times. So these were 3 flights where the second stage worked perfectly. And by the way, this was the 301st reflight of a Falcon 9 first stage. July 30th, ULA launched the 100th and final Atlas launch on a national security mission. It was an Atlas V with 5 side boosters for the mission USSF 51 out of Florida. And finally, on August 1st, CASC launched a Long March 3BE from China. In summary, out of 138 successful launches, 88 were from American companies or institutions, and 32 from Chinese companies or institutions. I will leave you with a recent filming by NASA astronaut Matthew Dominic, currently at the International Space Station, taken just from his window, this amazing aurora borealis across Earth's surface. Now, the footage also contains a vast amount of stars, as you would expect. According to him, you can also see low Earth orbit satellites and a meteor too. I couldn't see it, but do tell me in the comment section if you do. I'm Christophe Paget for All About Space. Thank you for watching your weekly space update. Goodbye and have a great week.